Hello and welcome, everybody.
Hello, hello. Welcome to our Energies and Opportunities broadcast, looking at the second month of this phenomenal year, February, and we'll start with just a little bit of just the last bit of January. Here we are broadcasting on the 28th of January. I'm Carol Eastwood.
And I'm Chetan Parkin.
And we're working with you to take a look at, take a deep look at the upcoming month, February. There's lots of opportunities, some big change of energies from what we've been experiencing since December, certainly through most of January. This year, we're calling it the year of a dramatic wake-up call to heal global relations. So welcome to our Evolutionary Human Design monthly broadcast. We're going to be highlighting the significant energies that are at play and all of the upcoming energies, as I said, for the month of February. So you may have noticed that, back even in December, but certainly for the first 3 weeks of January, the energies have been kind of at best sluggish. We began 2023 with both the planet of action, Mars, and the planet of communication, Mercury, in retrograde motion. Retrograde meaning that they appear to be moving backwards. So that means that our attention, rather than being focused on new things that we want to create for 2023 or new energy coming in at the beginning of a new year, a new cycle, there's a bit more of a need. There has been a bit more of a need to go back and review, to look over perhaps the last quarter of 2022, some of the decisions that we've made, some of the connections that we have, or the communications that we've been involved in, and see what needs to be revised, revamped, transformed, see what maybe needs for us to put a lot of energy into. But it's a time more of reflection. It's been a time more of reflection rather than moving forward. So now we've just begun here at the end of January to feel the energy flowing again. So it's time to set our sights on new ventures and on our future goals. So Chetan, you and I are going to be sharing the upcoming energies. We're going to go week by week through both the human design matrix and the astrological matrix. And wanted to let you know also that because this is such a phenomenal year, we've kept our Energies and Opportunities program open. It is closing. Energies and Opportunities is a way of having information from us about the energies as they move month to month, week to week, day to day, throughout every single day of this phenomenal year of 2023. It's a $297 investment. If you haven't taken a look at it, please do. We've got our last call for registering. I think Monday is the last day, and then the doors will close. And our entire group will be formed for the year. So take a look at that if you like. And another thing just to keep in mind, for those of you who are interested in learning human design, either if you want to give professional quality readings or to use it as an adjunct in your coaching practice, your healing work, or your counseling practice, or any kind of educational or business, if you're the manager or CEO of a business, etc. Our winter semester enrollment is going to open on February 7th. So I'll take a look at that when that comes up here in about a week, 9 or 10 days. And if it's time for you to learn this phenomenal system, human design, please take a look at it, see if you feel to join us. It's a deep dive program with a lot of personal one-on-one small group interaction with Chetan and some of his advanced students. And the course itself is Chetan and I teaching 6 months worth of training where you go through a module every 2 weeks. So it's a very comprehensive, in-depth training that really will help you to get your arms around how to use human design in your life personally, but also professionally. Okay, so let's take a look at this phenomenal upcoming month. The sun went into the sign of Aquarius on the 20th of January. So here towards the end of the month, we've been in the first 10 days of the movement into Aquarius. And on January 28th, today, we have a first quarter moon. First quarter moon is the point in time that where the energy from the new moon, which is kind of the new beginning of a month-long cycle, that first quarter moon, a week after the new moon, is that turning point time, the time to recognize what it is we're actually going to be taking action on, how we're going to put this, what the ideas or the understandings or the inspiration that we've had, how we're going to put it into motion. We've got some good energy for that with the planet Mars, which has to do with our work in the world. Moving in direct motion again, beginning to pick up some speed and in a beautiful triangle, which is a flowing aspect with the sun. So we should feel ourselves free to move forward, if not full blast, to really begin to gather some steam. A few other aspects that are happening right now. Jupiter towards the last of 2022 went into the sign of Aquarius. So it'll be in Aquarius for a good part of it, not Aquarius, Aries. It'll be in Aries for a good part of the year. And Aries is the sign that's the new beginnings. It's the beginning of the zodiac. It's ruled by Mars. It's about new starts, fresh starts, new ways of being, new ways of expressing, with Jupiter there. And Jupiter also in some very favorable aspects with the sun in Aquarius and with Mars in Gemini. We're going to see that we've just got ideas flying, an idea a minute, or new possibilities awakening. And, at the same time, Mercury now beginning to pick up some speed after Mercury's retrograde, picking up speed in Capricorn, forming a triangle aspect with Uranus. Uranus is the awakener to higher states of consciousness. So we should be seeing some breakthroughs, experiencing some breakthroughs, some big ahas, some new ideas for the future. Very exciting time. Would you like to say something about the very beginning of this last?
Well, yes, yeah. Just you're talking about things picking up speed again after this kind of real slowdown with Mars and Mercury both having this apparent backwards motion from our point of view, and Mars very much how we engage in our life to make things happen, to move forward our businesses, our activities. And it did a turnaround back in October and only started looking to come forward again in the middle of January. So it's still kind of picking up speed. It's still trying to get things lined up. Interestingly, where it went backwards from our point of view in October, it was in the gateway number 12 and the fourth line. And the 12 is a gateway of standstill. Now, Mars and standstill don't exactly seem to be a natural mix or match, but particularly in the fourth line, and the line is called prophesying, being the prophet, like looking into the future. And so a lot of us have had this time from October until present to kind of have a look, see, am I on the right track? I was brought to a standstill in many activities I was doing, certainly in my viewing of it. And am I now lining myself perhaps in a different way than I was come October last year? So just to recognize that, it's right in this moment in time in gateway number 16, beginning to move forward again. 16 has this critical perception, has a possibility to look at, is what I'm engaged with, does it have some future prospect, or should I just nix it right now? We're going to find that Mars is going to come back to where it was when it did the turn in March, actually the 15th of March, the Ides of March. And all of us are going to find that whatever we were doing before has now morphed into some slightly different way of going about things. Now, we might say our perspectives are always changing, but this one's really significant. So I'm just giving us that point of view at this moment in time. When we come to the middle of March, it's really good to have all pieces in a place where we're ready to go. We've had the chance to review. We've had the chance to check, am I on the right track with things? Am I going about things in the right way? Am I committing my Mars energy to things I really enjoy doing and the people around me that I really enjoy being around? So there's a lot of that at the moment. And as we come to the end of January right now, we've just had the Human Design New Year on the 22nd of January, which was basically when the sun was going through 41. The 41 is the gateway of, I call it imagination, like looking out ahead and just seeing, Can I connect with the experiences I'd really like to draw to me in this lifetime? Can I aim my sights towards those experiences that are going to bring me ultimately success and fulfillment, right? One might ask, what else are we doing here if we're not being fulfilled in our lives? So it's a key point in time. And as we come to the end of the merry month of January, the sun has now gone into gateway number 19. It's the gateway, and it opens up this theme of refinement. So in these next few days, really, really good to kind of just check and see, are there a few things in my life that could benefit from a bit of polish? Am I spiritually inclined in the direction I want to go? Am I happy with my meditation? Am I happy with my prayer? Am I happy with my connection with existence and the universe and God, or however one wants to see this? You know, do you feel clear inside yourself? So great time to be just checking in on that as well. So few things to mull over as we get this broadcast going and start looking into the month of February.
So let's take a look at the early part of February. We're going to go to the full moon. The full moon happens on the 5th of February. And I want to context this a bit by saying, let's step back a bit and look at where we are in, sort of bigger picture. For those of us who have been around for more than a few decades, we've seen ups and downs. We've seen financial crises. We've seen 9/11. We've seen wars. For some of us, saw the Vietnam War protest way back when. But essentially, we're living in a time when you could say there's been a good amount of unrest in the world. Perhaps in some way that's always been true. But as we come to this point in our evolutionary journey as a humanity on planet Earth, we're really reaching a critical turning point. And that's happening as we've firmly been in this process of about 50 to 100 years of gently moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, which is the age of brotherhood, sisterhood. It's the age of humanity. And essentially what's opening before us now is the possibility, and really the only possibility, for restoring health and balance and well-being to this precious planet Earth we live on, that we're opening the possibility that humanity could possibly all get along, that we actually could work together for the mutual benefit of all, that the divisions of countries, religions, different beliefs, different lands, different climates, different cultures can be part of the beauty of the array of humanity and many different expressions, rather than a difference that somehow we need to be afraid of or we need to set ourselves against. So I know that all of you who are with us in our broadcast and with Evolutionary Human Design, we all know this. We've been, many of us, working for years and years and perhaps decades on bringing more peace and light into the planet. But a really powerful phenomenon is happening now, and that is that the light itself is increasing. The capacity for our human vehicles to contain more light, to run more light through our vehicles, which means, because you could say that light is consciousness, that we're growing in awareness, that we're awakening. We're in a state of, we're a humanity that is awakening. We're coming out of our adolescence, you could say, as a humanity, into our adulthood, where we do take responsibility for the quality of life on planet Earth, not just our own personal needs and desires. So it's a time in which life is most likely going to be calling each of us to really step into your gifts and believe in yourself fully and embrace those gifts and really bring them into the world. The world needs our healing light. It needs our consciousness. It needs our joyousness. It needs our sense of possibility and our capacity to connect with spirit. So if we look at all of the energies that are happening, month to month, even year to year, we can say, well, yeah, we're in some quite challenging times. Don't let yourself be afraid by all the headlines. And I don't know if you've noticed, but one day you read, oh, the economy's crashing, and the next day you read, oh, it's coming back, the stock market's strong. I mean, where do we find the truth? We find it within ourselves. So look within. And rather than allowing yourself to become, taken up with the all the fear in the world and the strife in the world, be a light and shine your light into the world. And the more that you do that, the more that your own personal life will become more and more blessed. And I say that because I think this time that we're entering, February, March, part of April, is a really pregnant time for each of us individually and for us as a humanity to really get it, to really see that we are the light. It's up to us. There's some aspects, just phenomenal aspects right now here, right around the full moon. So the full moon, 16 degrees of Leo, opposite the sun at 16 degrees of Aquarius, both of them in a very strong right angle with Uranus. Uranus is the awakener to higher states of consciousness. It shows us fifth dimensional reality, intuition, instantaneous knowing. And with the sun, with the full moon highlighting Uranus in this way, the recognition of ourselves as intuitive beings, as beings who have the capacity to reach into a wellspring of truth within ourselves and to live our lives from that is, the light's just shining on that so strongly here at this full moon. At the same time, there's opportunities that seem to just be coming. Perhaps things that we've been longing for or hoping for a while seem to be coalescing and coming now. We are going to be entering a very busy time. If you've taken a little bit of time off around the past holidays where things seem to have been moving a little bit more slowly, fasten your seatbelt because we're going to get busy, 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 busy. There's some big opportunity cycles coming, some revolutionary changes possible. And we're going to be, receiving very highly creative and inspired ideas that are just coming. And all of that is part of laying the ground for us to orchestrate some profound changes and transformation in the way that we interact, in the way that we communicate. So I guess if February, if there was a theme for February, it would be shake it up, baby. Things are changing and the changes are good. It's about awakening and being a part of the whole awakening for humanity. That's what I see at this full moon. So look and see where in your life are you awakening? Where is it becoming more and more clear to you? What is your role? What is your special gift? How can you bring that out into the world more? Over to you.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump right into the full moon as well on the 5th of February. It takes place in hexagram number 7, and it's in the 4th line. The 7 in the traditional I Ching, it's called the army, as though, we're all in lockstep with each other. I call it the gate of uniformity. It's like getting on the same page together, aiming at the same outcomes. And the 4th line of the 7th gateway is the one where there's a possibility of maybe passing responsibility somewhere else, in that you're approached with something that it's maybe your normal way of just dealing with certain things or certain people, particularly, trying to get them to see life the same way you do. And then you just come to realize, maybe this person needs somebody else to go along with. Maybe they need direction from somewhere else other than me. So it's just one of those possibilities in time, the full moon shining on this and just saying, look, maybe enough of this, maybe, rearrange things, maybe take a different course, maybe drop certain responsibilities that you have in your life because they're not serving you or the people that you're taking responsibility for, or those aspects of their lives you're taking responsibility for. So an opportunity to walk away in a sense. Coincident with this full moon, we have the 6124, which is this channel of this kind of extraordinary downloads we can get every now and again. Just saying, hey, really shake it up, have a really good look at this and see, are you living according to your own truth? Or are you following along somebody else's, well, you're supposed to do this kind of thing in life, right? What is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and it's rather than looking at the good intentions, like checking out inside, what is it that's really going on for me? Can I allow for a novel step in this? Coincident with that, we have Uranus in gateway number 2 in the second line, which is basically this potential to see things in a completely different light. Again, adding to that 6124, just that getting that really clear hit over the head sometimes. Coincident with this, we have Mars now going forward, and it's gone into gateway number 35. Neptune is in gate 36. It's going to be there the whole of 2023. And so Mars is now activating this channel of looking through all kinds of different ways of going about things, different experiences. You know, when an experience pops up and you notice, oh, I've already done that. You know, there's no point in doing it again. And so, you know, this is what this particular channel is all about, is seeing, yeah, I've been there, done that. I don't need to go back there again. I need to move into something fresh and different. And Mars has been kind of checking out with us, you know, are we making any kind of progress in life? Like, or we're just in some kind of a loop. We keep going down the same road, the same path, the same rhythm the whole time. And so that really with this full moon, there's an opportunity to drop certain habits, maybe habitual interactions, habitual relationships, habitual ways of doing stuff in life, and look about taking a different course. So that is what happens with that full moon. What is also going on there is the planet Saturn for 2023 is going to spend all its time going through the emotion center of the human design system, right? That's and basically when Saturn gets into our emotions, it's basically saying, are you really in touch with this? Are you really taking responsibility for your feelings? Are you allowing yourself to have pleasure? Because the emotion center that's the unique thing for humans, is that we have pleasure. We're allowed to, not just allowed to, we're here to have pleasure, indulge in pleasure, be pleasured. And we can see, you know, so much of the control that has been placed on humanity, whether through religious beliefs or political beliefs or goodness knows what beliefs. You know, we've all been told, no, be guilty, you know, be shamed. You're not allowed to have fun, you know, you're not allowed to cut loose. And so Saturn is really giving it a very interesting run throughout the whole of 2023 and just saying, are you in touch with your feelings? Are you allowing yourself to have pleasure? Is it not just okay? Is it essential to have that release? And in doing so, open up all kinds of new experiences for yourself. So it is an extraordinary year in a sense that, you know, we're being asked to discipline ourselves around our pleasure and our feelings and to just get more and more clear about them. You see, the emotion center, when we look at it in the human design perspective, the emotion center not only has everything to do with pleasure and pain, but it has everything to do with digestion. It has everything to do with sex. It has everything to do with addictions. It has everything to do with autism and the inability to connect into the emotional realm. So, you know, this is a huge opportunity for all of us. It's the center of war. It's the center of domestic violence, you know, where people lose it emotionally. They can't handle it. And so really, we've called this year a very particular year in coming to terms, you know, that we've got to open up communication again. And so Saturn is really giving us this opportunity to check in. What is it that rattles my cage? Who is it that rattles my cage? Where do I get upset? Where do I lose it? Where do I get into a temper? Rather than just seeing I'm in a flow of life of ups and downs. So it really is an extraordinary year like this. And in this particular moment in time, we have Mercury now going very quickly in gate 41 and Saturn in gate 30. And, you know, it's basically enhancing this other channel I talked about, the transitoriness of the 35 to the 36, this adaptability that we have to change and shift. So basically what I'm talking about here is the potential of a whole new vision for our life experiences, taking on a whole new possibility and just, you know, ultimately becoming sovereign beings in our own life. It's like, yeah, of course I'm allowed to do this. Of course I'm here to have this. And at the same time, being very responsible about it as well. So that's a little bit of what I have to say as we get into the merry month of February, and we'll see how it begins to move. And the full moon really is a trigger for us to see, what am I obliged to, and can I drop that obligation? Can I open up into all kinds of new connections and new futures?
And you know, there's something I want to add to what you said about the emotion center as well, is that yes, it's, you know, you said it's pleasure and pain, it's the ups and downs, but it's also it's a gateway into spirit awareness as
Yes,
well.
absolutely.
It is a gateway. It's not the only gateway, but it is, especially for people who have emotional definition, it is your gateway for touching in with the divine, with the sublime, for being in touch with and aware of your spirit essence. So it's that doorway, that gateway, and it's beyond the pleasure and the pain. It's beyond the addictions or the what would you call it, the getting yourself stuck in wanting things a certain way, the attachments that we humans have tended to create in our lives. It's beyond that. It's a place of higher truth. So when we come to recognize that the emotion center, whether we have it defined or whether we're somebody who doesn't have it defined, has been essentially it's the emotions have been ruling the world. The more that each of us can come into a place of aligned clarity within ourselves, a place beyond just the sheer raw emotion, a place into the wisdom behind the emotion, and into the clarity and stillness that's there, that shines back our truth. The more that we can do that, the more that we can teach others to do that, the more we're bringing alignment and balance back into the world. If we look at the full moon as being the time when the potentials, the seed that was planted at the new moon, and it began to really cultivate and grow at the first quarter moon, the full moon brings whatever our plans, our visions into fruition, where we can see them, we can actually see some results of other things we've been working on or dreaming about or actively involved in. As we move into, so we saw that in the end of the first week of February, and then as we move into the beginning of the second week of February, right at February 13th, we have a third quarter moon. And the third quarter moon, in looking at the entire big cycle, is the point in time when we stop and we assess, all right, how far have we come? When it's a phenomenal month, the energy is just flying in February. There's so much opportunity, there's so much possibility, new ideas, new opportunities coming, new doors opening for us. Yes, Saturn is strongly active during this month because the sun is, especially at this time, right in the middle of February, the sun is coming into contact with Saturn. And here at this third quarter moon, we really get a look at that. So Saturn has to do with the boundaries that we must pay attention to in the third dimensional plane. The laws and rules of existence. We live in a time-space environment. There's gravity, there's give and take, there's karma, there's good and bad, there's light and dark. So those are the parameters of this third dimensional world that we live in. We've been talking a lot about our capacity to reach to higher planes of existence, to reach into that light plane where we're all one. But that mastery in life really is about being able to come from that place of your light being and recognize that you have a physical body and a physical incarnation. How can you bring more light into your personal incarnation, into the life that you live? How can you share more light, shed more light, create with more light? How can you do your work with more light? How can you love yourself with more light? And how can we love each other with more light? So Saturn here is acting as the sort of the factor that's giving us an opportunity to see where are we at in the growth of our consciousness. Where are we at in our awareness of us being a one of humanity, a global being. So we have the stabilizing influence of Saturn, along with the highly inspired energy of Venus, the planet of love and romance and beauty and money and all the good, yummy things in life, conjoining Neptune, which is the planet that has to do with spiritual oneness, bliss, agape, So we got Venus, we got the two love planets from the human vibrational love into the higher spiritual love in together. And at this third quarter moon, the moon is forming a triangle of easing, harmonizing energy with Venus and Neptune. So essentially what that's saying is we have an opportunity right around here, the middle of February, to really be in touch with the beauty, the light, and the utter exquisite nature of our soul essence, and to begin to allow our life to be orchestrated more and more and more from that soul essence. We kind of have to do that because of the way that the energy is moving right now. We've got highly inspired ideas. It's like it's electric. And for us to be able to move our lives into that pathway of new growth, new adventure, new possibilities, we really need to be in alignment with our soul wisdom. Pluto, the planet of transformation, has been interacting with Mercury and continues to do that throughout the middle part of the month. Mercury, bringing our awareness about our social interactions and how what we do either supports the transformation and healing on planet Earth or doesn't. That's a great time for getting together socially and working with groups or small interactions with people and making plans for new growth, new possibilities. So we've got new choices that we all need to be making about how to conserve energy, but it isn't just about how to conserve electricity or money. It's about how to conserve our own energy so we use it only in the ways and at the times and for the reasons that our truth is guiding us to do, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. So you're talking a lot about light. And I remember hearing a fable once about light, that God was approached by darkness, and darkness was having a really hard time, and saying to God, look, there's this light being that comes along, this light, and every time light comes along, I get shooed out. I can't be around. I have to go. So God's a little concerned about this, and he calls up light and says, look, I keep having this complaint from darkness. It's like every time you show up, he can't be there. And the light says, darkness? Never seen it. Who is this darkness? And I say this in the context of looking at Neptune in the 36 this year. Neptune kind of opens us up to our spiritual beliefs. And we've talked a bit about that, and we'll talk more as the year goes on. It's responsible for us to be in touch with our spirit nature. And with Saturn going through all these emotional gates, sooner or later it's going to end up in the gate 55, which is the closest connection, but also gate 22 as well. So it's just to say the 36, where Neptune is going backwards and forwards from our point of view here, and highlighting, what is the nature of the 36? Now, in the traditional I Ching, it's called darkening of the light. And the inference there is you're confronted by something. It looks like a tunnel, and the deeper you look into the tunnel, the darker it appears to get. And the inference there is it's like you're approached by a challenge. And the challenge for all of us in this time is, can we get the earth on an even keel? Can humanity's consciousness come up a little bit more, and we can get rid of all these things like war and violence and upset and famine and disease and all these things? Can we do that? And the answer is, of course, yes, we can. But what does it take? Does it take, massive movements of people, or does it involve each one of us becoming more and more of a light in our life? And so the nature of the darkening of the light, the 36, and Neptune going through there and challenging our spirit nature, if you will, it's basically saying, these challenges are going to come up. What are you going to do about them? How are you going to engage with them? Are you pretending they're not there? Are you going to throw your hands up in the air and just say it's all too much, I can't deal with it? Or are you going to remember, the more you go into what looks like a challenging phase, the more that the light has to come from within. So the darkening of the light is a challenge. The Neptune in the 36 is a challenge for all of us, is to keep the light on and keep burning inside and just saying, I have as much right to engage with this as anybody else. I'm a sovereign being here, and I can't, I'm part of the consciousness stream here on this planet. So, part of the challenge for the world at the moment is the light is getting darker. We're not very comfortable about the likelihood of the outcomes here. Generally speaking, humanity seems to be in a depression of some sort. And we haven't learned our lessons. We're still into war and fighting and bombs and military and, ridiculous things over property and people and, who's got the right to have what. And so this darkening of the light, it really is a challenge for us right now, throughout this year, right into 2025, actually, is just holding the light up, keeping the light burning inside. When a challenge shows up, be responsible emotionally with it. Be as clear as you can emotionally with it. And see, anything that comes to us, we have the means to be able to play with it, to deal with it, to engage with it. Anytime that a crisis comes to us in life, the crisis exists up until that moment that we step into it and start to resolve it. And it's just that thing, trusting in our type and authority, we can move into these crisis situations and begin to really resolve them. Individual by individual, but it spreads. The message passes quite easily. People get it very quickly, very easily, that it's possible for us to hold this higher consciousness. And it's an amazing thing to watch when Neptune really becomes clear in what it's about, holding this high spiritual intention. We all have a Neptune in our chart. That's where our spirituality resides. That's where the challenge is, perhaps, for us to engage as a spirit in consciousness, as a consciousness in human form. That's where the issue is. And for all of us on the planet now, it's like, keep the light on, make it come brighter, chase away this darkness, whatever it might be. Anyway, that's what I have to say at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's such a powerful time for humanity and for each of us. And even though, there's a lot of talk about financial crises and the stock market's in trouble and, the dollar isn't sustainable, et cetera, et cetera. The monetary system is a part of all of the systems that are going through radical changes in this time that we're, as we're moving from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. The systems that were important to us and that work for us in one age and one time for humanity don't work anymore. They're starting to break down, and we're starting to see that they just, the political system in America needs some addressing. It's not working as well as it could. The monetary system has some real problems with it that need addressing. The healthcare system, the education system, I can go on, but the way that we deal with energy and food distribution, all of the major systems that have been in place on planet Earth are ready for an upgrade into new energy that is meant for a new time, a world like we haven't seen. In 50 years ago, we couldn't know instantaneously what was happening on any in some remote part of the world. 25 years ago, we couldn't get on our mobile phones and talk to somebody in France, or it's all changed so fast that essentially what we're saying is that humanity hasn't really caught up with the energetic changes, the energy changes that Gaia, planet Earth, has been going through. But we're rapidly getting to that point where we need to catch up. And that's what the stress has been over the past 2 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, going into 23. This is our turning point, 23 and 24. When we've reached maybe the darkest point of the darkening of the light. And we're beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're beginning to see the possibility of how to address some of the issues that seem to be so, I don't know, insurmountable, but they're not. Anytime we have a problem or an issue or concern or challenge in our life, there's a reason for it. And there's also an answer for it. And always the potential is by going into the issue, not resisting that there's an issue or there's a problem, but going right into it and interacting with it and saying, well, what can I learn here? What can we do here? What the solution comes. So if we begin to live our life like that, trusting that whatever challenges come in our life, there's an answer for them. There's a reason for them, and there's an answer for them. I say this because as we move into this latter part of February, we move from the third quarter moon to the new moon. The new moon on February 19th concludes the time of the sun going through Aquarius. And the sun now on the 18th actually enters the sign of Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac astrologically. So we're at the completion of a cycle that humanity has been in for the past 11 months, preparing for the birth of a new cycle that'll happen at the spring equinox around the third week of March. So as the sun goes into Pisces, we have a couple of big shifts here. One of them is that Venus leaves Pisces at the same time and goes into the sign of Aries. So as Venus goes into the sign of Aries, Venus has gotten what, let's see how to put this. Our awareness of what's valuable for us, what's meaningful to us, where our value really lies, and where our wealth and our well-being really lies, that awareness by now, by February 18th, 19th, should have come to us already. And we're ready, we're prepared now to take really effective action to protect and grow our resources and our ability to use what we have, to use what we're given in the highest and most positive way. When the sun goes into Pisces, we have a new moon, sun and moon together in Pisces on the 19th of February. And that's a new beginning. What's the new beginning about? Well, it's with Saturn. So the sun, moon, and Pisces together with Saturn still in late Aquarius, saying, all right, what is it that is the gift that we will give to the world, the gift that we'll give to each other, the gift that we'll give to ourselves, in terms of our willingness to engage, to roll our sleeves up and engage with the issues that are in our personal lives and the issues that we find in the world, because all we have to do is decide to solve them. If there's problems, we just need to decide to solve them. When humanity comes together, when people come together with a shared intention to find solutions, to transform situations, that's a powerful process. So we have, in this third week of February, we have a kind of a new beginning with the sun going into Pisces, and some other changes, planetary changes happening, in which we're going to see there's more of a communication flow, easier alignment, working with understanding of higher principles, and being able to communicate those higher principles and integrating those higher principles into everything that we do, into the way that we do our work, into how we deliver it, into how we show up each day, and into the way that we interact with each other. We're also seeing a time of possible, entire new changes coming, like big revelations and brand new changes, new opportunities. There's a lot of new opportunity for business success in this latter part of February. And I know that's contrary to what you're hearing. So much of what we're hearing out there, if you're following the news at all, what they call the news these days, it's all mayhem and it's all going to hell in a handbasket, and but it just isn't true. That's not what the energy says. The energy says it's the right time for new creativity, innovation, to have new ideas flowing, to have people coming together and working collaboratively and cooperatively we're really seeing spirit at work. And all we have to do is open up, believe it, and become a part of it, become a part of that spiritual movement to raise the light on planet Earth, raise the light in our own lives, share that light with each other through the work we do, through the interactions that we have. And we'll see as we get into the latter part of February, we'll see that the choices that we've made and the changes that we've made or we've decided to make are going to set us on an entirely new path as we go into the latter part of the what we experience as the winter in the Northern Hemisphere, and we approach the spring, coming spring.
So yeah, talking about the news and talking about the information that is fed to us at this time, you may have come across this thing called chatbot or AI script or whatever it is, that computers actually write articles and pages and even books. Mm-hmm. They basically, you put in a few parameters and it just press the enter button and off it goes. And all of a sudden you've got a whole conversation. And I don't know about anybody on our broadcast here, but I get bombarded every day by several new series of articles and stuff about things I have no idea about, but someone got my email address and just started bombarding me with it. And it's like, the whole thing is cutting loose at the moment. And so absolutely, and the most important thing is we remember what is our presence in all of this. In all this bombardment of other people's interests has been filtered through algorithms and goodness knows what. What at the core of it is our truth. That is the whole importance of this time. That is, in a sense, part of the energy of 2023 is like, it's going off into a level of insanity at the moment, that people can invent anything they like and, stand by it. And it's just patently untruthful. So more and more we have to stand up in this. And so the new moon that comes about, is it on the 19th, late at night on the 19th of February in Pacific time? It happens in gateway number 55. And so sun and moon together, and as you say, Saturn also very close by. Saturn in gateway number 30 at that time, which is the gateway of desires. What really are the experiences that I'm going to say have to live out, or where do we recognize what are the experiences that are essential for us, and where are the ones that we kind of tend to get caught up in everybody else's ideas of things, and because we're not 100% clear about them, how come they cause us frustration. We're here to live out the experiences we came for, basically the ones that are really important for us, and that again is part of our sovereign nature, is through your type and authority, recognizing which are the experiences that are really valid for us as an individual. What are the ones that have to get lived out? So this new moon taking place really, really close, actually in gateway number 55, which is the gateway we call abundance. Yes, we do live in an abundant universe. Whatever the market says or this word economy is supposed to mean, we live in an abundant universe. There's more than enough for everybody. And yet it doesn't necessarily get played out in that way. And so what we align with abundance is the whole question of spirit. And at that time with the sun and the moon in this gateway, the 55 gateway of spirit, I'm going to read to you the second line where this new moon takes place. Remaining innocent, holding your own when surrounded by skepticism.
Yes.
So what I was going on about, all these emails and these chat bots and God knows what have been railed at me. You're on the wrong track. You should be doing this. Pay attention to whatever this computer's telling you. The core of it all is remaining innocent, remaining true to yourself, maybe unsophisticated even, that all these things look far more clever than I am. But what to do? I have to hold true to my own nature. And here you provoke suspicion in others through your ideals and can be coerced by their mistrust. So just, this is a part of the nature of this time in life, is we're being bombarded by stuff that may look brilliant on the outside, but actually has a very questionable content to it. And we have to really pay attention to that, to stay true to our nature, true to our spirit.
So we're going to wrap up with just taking a look at the last week of February, and we'll come to the first quarter moon on February 27th. So we've had a new moon, and we know that that's a new beginning. We've talked about some of the energies that are present at this new beginning. And once again, when I look at this first quarter moon, which is the, how we take those nascent energies at the new moon and start to bring them into expression. Yes, there's a challenge that shows up at this time. There's usually energetically, looking at the planets and the planetary interactions, there's usually one or two, or sometimes more. Sometimes we're in highly challenging times, as we've just come out of. But I have to say that this time, the only challenge really that we're going to be experiencing is we're needing to question ourselves about how realistic are we being about what all we can get accomplished and can get done, about the endeavors that we're in right now being in alignment with our own truth. So there is that challenge, to the planet Mars, which has to do with the way that we bring our work into the world, in a right angle with Neptune, saying, well, but what is our vision and what is our truth? So is our work and the way that we're doing our work and approaching our work and sharing the results of our work in the world, is it in alignment truly with our higher self, with our highest truth? That's the only real challenge I see here. And it's an important one. It's one we need to pay attention to. But the rest of the energy, the way it's flowing here at the latter part of February and into early March, it's just, it's flowing, positive, big opportunities. Venus and Jupiter, once again, Venus and Jupiter together in the sign of Aries, and these beautiful linking energies with Mars, saying opportunities are coming hard and fast.
Yes.
Just new ideas, new opportunities, new possibilities, new doors opening, expansive opportunities for new ventures, new relationships, maybe some travel or some growth opportunities, business opportunities, bringing a lot of our big visions into practical applications. It's just an enormously pregnant time for creativity. So, what's that adage? May you live in interesting times.
Well, it kind of extends beyond just that. It's like everything's flying at the moment.
Yeah.
And the case is for all of us to find our own engagement with it.
Yes.
I mean, part of the opportunity at the end of the month, the 23rd, right through the 9th of March, the money channel is in human design. We've got Jupiter in gate 21, we got Mars in gate 45. If ever there was an opportunistic time to engage on the material level, this is it. And as we exit the month of February and go into the merry month of March, we come to this very particular time that's called progressive community, which is basically, I talked a little bit earlier about with the full moon earlier on in the month of having a good look, do I need to engage? I'm habitually caught up in resolving things in a particular way. Do I need to keep on doing that? Or is it time to move on? Is it time to quit and go into something very, very different? And it's just, we can carry on with habits that don't serve us our whole lifetime and come to the end and there's just nothing but a regret. It's like, why did I waste my time on that? I was given so many different opportunities. So I think you're hearing it from both Carol and myself at the moment. This is a massively opportunistic time, but the most important thing is be true to yourself while you're engaging with it.
I think that's a good place to wrap up. It's been a joy, as always, to be with you. And I hope that it's been inspiring, perhaps giving you a new way to look at things. Let's just call this the anti-news, the anti-news station, or the real news.
The real news, yeah. I mean, we all know inside ourselves what's valid and what's not, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So, namaste. We'll see you next time.